Welcome to Learning Life Skills Together. This is our weekly community Zoom meeting where our guests help us to go deeper into the 4 life skills and open up a huge array of chances to practice them. Hello, everyone. This is Learning Life Skills Together weekly Zoom meeting number 82. And today we have with us Sandy Shacklady-White, who is a big friend of Learning Life Skills Together. We've talked with her a lot about school and back to school. And we're going to talk about back to school maybe from a different perspective today. So, as always, we're going to start with a practice. And so I'm going to keep it very simple so we can get right down to the heart of the matter here. And this is, as I say, an extremely simple practice. It works on your own way that your body is built. And so running down your right arm into your right hand is the big nerve that also controls our heart rate. And so sometimes you notice things like back to school can get your heart rate up. And so I'm going to offer you this little trick. It's not a meditation practice. It's not really anything but taking advantage of the way we're made. So you could take your right hand and put it on your heart. And you could even do this if you're walking around, standing, no requirements for how you are. You might wish to close your eyes. Some people find that helps them to tune in to things. So you get rid of some of the distractions. But you could certainly keep your eyes open. And then bringing your attention to the feeling of your hand and the feeling of what's under your hand, your heart. And so maybe just tuning into how that is. Maybe you feel your heartbeat. Maybe you don't. Either way is okay. We're not looking for any particular thing to happen, for any particular feeling to take place. Just to notice your hand, your chest, maybe the heart. Maybe you feel your chest rising and falling with your breathing. And so that big nerve running down your right arm is the one that helps to speed up or slow your heart. So as you just tune in, just bring your attention to your heart, to your breathing, and letting everything else just sort of be in the background. We have a lot of things in our minds, a lot of feelings that happen, but they don't always have to be in the front rank coming at us. They can be in the background, in our hand, in our chest, in our heart. Can be more in the foreground. And so maybe you check in right now and see how it is with you. How is that space under your hand? What's it like in that heart space? What's it like in your mind right now? Could be anything. Maybe you can put a word or two to it. And then when you're ready, if your eyes have been closed, you could open them. If your hand's on your heart, maybe you want to take it away. Maybe you take it away and you feel like, no, I think I'll put it back again. Who knows? So I'm going to ask Sandy to share with us how this little experiment was for her.
It was very soothing, very calming. It's,
Hmm.
by focusing on the heartbeat and that constant rhythm, just was very calming. And it helped me pay attention to what was occurring at the moment as you were speaking, rather than the brain going all different directions.
Yeah.
It had to keep bringing it back, but that rhythmic feeling was very, very calming.
Yeah. And so, I mean, this is a really easy thing to pull off. You know, you got to go do something. You put your hand on your heart for a minute, pay attention to it, and then go off and do what you do, you know? So this idea of just taking a little break, a little pause is something that we all do need from time to time. And this is the back to school time. And
Definitely.
that is why I invited you to come talk with me. Um, I was thinking about the program and I was thinking about, okay, we did a back to school piece about the kids and maybe what we can do for them and how we can help them out. And the second time I thought about it, I thought, who gets left out of all this back to school talk is parents and carers. I mean, and they have feelings too.
That's for sure.
And they're a big part of this, if not even maybe even a bigger part than the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think that we can have a few things to say to parents. And Sandy, I asked you because you have sort of in working across the state in education with um, special education students and parents, you must see sort of how back to school strikes people. And we know
Absolutely.
about the kids, we've talked about
Yeah.
that, but what about the parents? What do you see?
There's often a sense of panic, um, a feeling of nervousness, especially if the kiddo is going into a different school, like say they're transitioning from preschool to kindergarten. That's a huge thing. All of a sudden,
Hmm.
school becomes scary and going to be mean because there's bigger kids there, and same with going to middle school and high school. It's just a huge transition, and typically in my experience, it's both as an educator when I taught in the classroom and as in my role now as a educational consultant, you tend to notice that the parents are more nervous than the kids in a lot of cases. The
Hmm.
kids just kind of go with the flow. Yes, they need support through it, and that's where the parents or the guardians, whoever their caretaker is in need of things like what we just did, that self-regulation with the hand on the chest, and um, that could take 1 minute just to help get oneself back under a sense of control, because parents often feel they're being pulled in a bunch of different directions at this
Hmm.
time of year because they need to get all these things to get ready for school. The family now has to get back onto a different type of routine.
Yeah, and so I mean that takes us right back to the second module in learning life skills together, on emotion regulation. And actually, it's the third module after the introduction. So this whole idea of how do we calm ourselves so that we can be present for the kids and so that we can think clearly about what needs to be done. And so I'm sort of hoping that with doing this with our hands on our heart, we got to a little bit of a place where we can maybe hear some things and take
Mhm.
them in and think creatively. All of those things come out of our being more calm rather than less.
Yes,
Right, right.
yes.
So where would you start with helping parents, which will of course help the kids?
I think first of all, it's noticing that the start of the school year is it's going to be a change in routine. And it's not going to be perfect from the get go. Whatever the routine is going to be, there's going to be little hiccups along the way. And it's knowing that we need to be flexible and not get too upset if things don't go perfectly, because things are not going to go perfectly well.
Mhm.
Despite all the planning, there's still going to be little glitches here and there. So, and if things don't go quite as expected, be flexible, offer yourself some grace, a little bit of self-compassion, and you just try a little bit better the next time and learn from it. So I think having that mindset that it doesn't have to be perfect, there's going to be some little glitches, and then that flexibility. If the kids are noticing that flexibility and kind of going with the flow, you're going to be a great role model for them in handling when things don't go
Mhm.
so well for
Yeah.
them. And the just using that practice of the hand on the heart, doing it together. If things just kind of get a little too overwhelming, just taking that moment to realize it and taking that little bit of time just to bring it back together, that emotional regulation, doing it together is going to be really important.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So one of the things you mentioned was is that it's going to be when school starts a new routine. And so, one of the things that we talk about a lot in learning life skills is this idea of practice and doing things over and over again, which is a little bit like a routine. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering how does that fit in? How does that idea come into this for parents?
We all like structure and routine. We all thrive on that. Even our teenagers who might rebel against structure and routine, they still thrive on it. They may say they don't like it, but they still do. Everybody likes
Ah,
things to be predictable, including our grown ups at all ages. We want to have a routine that we can predict on. But being flexible when things go a little bit awry. And I think by establishing routines, remembering what the past school year was like and what routines help, working with your kids at home and saying, okay, school's coming. What kind of routines do we need to bring back into place? And it could be talking about the time getting up. Maybe that's different this year for the kiddos. It might be
mm,
a little later, might be a little earlier, depending on the school. A routine for getting breakfast, routine for packing lunch if you pack lunch, or maybe it's going over the menu for the cafeteria and making sure that they're looking at options that have good nutritional value. Taking a look at when they're going to go to bed each night so that there's consistency with that time so that they're getting ample and quality sleep. And then there's also, what about homework? When are we going to do homework? Eliciting from the kiddos what's going to work for them. And then if they're a little unrealistic, then it's you as the grown up kind of guiding that discussion to make it manageable. Um, Deciding where homework's going to get done in the house. Is there a private area, a quiet study area that can be used? Especially as kids are getting older, they're going to have a little bit more responsibility when it comes to studying and being independent with their work. We want to be supporting them in that they're going to become as independent as possible, as successful as possible, and setting up these routines and everybody understanding those expectations and those routines are going to set them up for doing well. And then the parent, the caretaker, is going to feel less stressed because it's working out for everybody. And
mm.
I think if everybody's on the same page with expectations and the routine, it's going to make for a happier and healthier family life in general. I think that's our goal, really, is we want the school year to be starting off so that we settle into one that's a happy and healthy routine. and experiences for everybody.
Yeah, yeah. So working out those things before they come up and then seeing if they work and then
Yes,
bringing in that flexibility. Well, we thought that was the right way to go with this. And guess what? Doing your homework there is not happening. It's not.
right.
So let's reconfigure. Let's figure that out. Yeah. Yeah.
It might be a discussion about what were those distractions that kept you from doing your homework. It doesn't mean putting the cell phone away or the earbuds or whatever they're listening to. It's like we got to be helping the kiddos realize what's working, what's not working, and being very explicit about it, but in a kind way, in an instructional manner, and having a dialogue to help them see what might be a better option, and then let them try those options. Try it a few times, because lots of times we try something once or twice, we give up too quickly, but maybe give it a few more tries and see if maybe if it's done with fidelity, it may really end up working if it's done as agreed upon.
Yeah. Yeah. So the repetition comes in there again, that idea.
Yeah.
We're going to practice this for this week and see how it goes.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, rather than let's try this. Oh, we tried it. Yeah, we're done. Yeah,
Doesn't work.
yeah,
Yeah. No.
doesn't work. So yeah, to take that longer time horizon on those things, I think is a good.
Definitely. And debriefing on each time it's being done.
Mhm.
Having that
Yeah,
discussion. You can talk to preschoolers about those kinds of things at any age.
yeah,
And sharing with them why you're looking to do a certain routine and get them to understand the purpose of it. And it's meant to help them, and it's going to end up helping the carer.
yeah, yeah. I mean, one of the things that we talk about in the module on communication is to know what it is that you want in a situation is really a valuable place to start from. And then when you can figure out what the other person wants, you can really
Right.
have a conversation. You can really start to make things work. But often we don't know
Right.
what we want even. So,
Right.
it comes back to that, oh, let me slow myself down, put my hand on my heart and see what's happening here and what do I need? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then how can we start to go about getting that? So one of the things that we've talked about forever, like since I think the second weekly meeting that we had about learning life skills together, is going for a walk as
Yeah.
a regular thing to do. And I keep coming back to that as kind of a model for how to help ourselves and how to help others. So I sort of see that in as far as communications is concerned, going for a walk is very different than having a confrontation, meaning
Mm,
me having my face in your face. And so those times when we're side by side, you know, seem to me to be really important ones as well. What's what's
definitely.
what's your thinking about walking?
Yeah. Definitely. It's great life skill any age. Is just knowing when you need to take a little break, and maybe it's just a 5 minute walk, whether it's inside the house, if it's not nice weather outside, or there's some reason you can't be outside, but you can get outside for sure. Just kind of clear the mind a little bit and um, self-regulate, kind of get that calm down, clearer thinking so that you can come back and have that discussion, that whatever it may be, but so that you can start to communicate, truly be an understanding of each other's messages and what each person needs and is hoping to see from the other person to make it a mutually beneficial situation.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to get at here is that those kinds of things could be built into the daily routine so that, we don't come home and grill our child.
Right,
How was it? So that there's space for both of us to calm ourselves down because we're wondering how our kid was, and we're
yes,
dealing as well with, how we are. We've been at work all day, or we've been doing
right.
whatever adult thing we were doing, which unfortunately, you start to say adult, and then you start to think aggravating, and so
Ah,
so we need to calm ourselves down too. Yeah.
it's definitely knowing when you get home, you got to have that downtime, the unwind time, whatever that may look like. And it might be taking a walk. Maybe it's listening to music or reading something just for pleasure, just something that's totally different to reestablish that you're home. Transitions are difficult. Um, so it may be putting something in the routine that, okay, when we get home, this is our downtime for 15, 20 minutes. And it may be that you need to have like a menu of options for the kids as to what they want to do that day, because what they want one day may not be what they want the next day
Mm,
when they get home. So having options available, and depending on the age or the ability levels, it maybe even if there are visuals that could be posted on the refrigerator or on a bulletin board or something in the house
yeah.
that here are my choices of what I can do when I get home from school before I have to do my homework or chores, because some kids may have to do certain chores when they get home. For some kids, chores might be that downtime if it's a chore that they'd like to
Mm,
do, just take care of a pet or something along those lines.
right. Right. Yeah. So I like that idea. I can picture a chart on the refrigerator that says, "Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I like that. I'll go
Right.
today." Yeah.
And building that together,
Mm,
creating that visual schedule, those visual options together and posting it there. And as kids get older and they change in their preferences, change it up with them. And that's okay.
yeah. Yeah. So we've sort of taken the kids through the day. I mean, we're thinking again in terms of the kids' day. And so I'm thinking in terms of the parents' day as well, and how it comes out for them. So it's probably earlier than the kids' day. And it undoubtedly runs late, you hope, runs late.
Right.
It's,
Yes,
if you're
usually.
lucky, if you're lucky, it runs later than the kid's day.
Yes.
And so do these same ideas, do you think they're good for parents as well? Okay, it's like now the kids are in bed. Okay. Now I am going to choose to do these things, or I'm going to choose to do something at least to lead into that time where maybe I have to do that little bit of work that I have left over, or whatever, so that there's that gap there for parents as well to settle themselves in and not feel guilty about it.
Right. Right. No, and I do think we have to establish our own routines when the kids are not up and running about. In the morning, it's being consistent with your time getting up and having everything prepared for the day the night before. So get things ready, just like you would with your kids, having their clothes out, their shoes out, their backpack ready to go for the next day. Perhaps it's making your lunches together if you're going to pack lunches and you do that together the night before so that when you get up in the morning before the kids are all up, you've got everything ready to go and you're feeling a sense of stability and predictability.
Hmm.
So when kids do get up, you're ready to roll with it. The
Yeah.
same with when you come home. You know what those routines are going to be with the kids, and then when they're off to bed or you you've got some downtime and having a type of routine for yourself. Maybe it's further unwinding. Maybe it's talking to your partner if you have a partner in the house, or whoever might be living with you. Um, just kind of to debrief your own day, making sure that you're having meals the best you can at a regular time, and healthy, nutritious meals that are not just frantically eating, but actually taking time to enjoy the meal and that nutritional value. And then with your sleep at night, getting quality sleep, because we're doing that, trying to get our kids to do that, to eat well and sleep well.
Yeah.
We should be doing the same thing, not just because it's good for us, but also being a good role model for the kids.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so important to keep in mind, I think. And so I think we've gone from waking up to going to sleep, and we've sort of covered the waterfront, as the saying.
Yeah.
Why I don't know, but that's the saying. And, and so um, I want to ask you the question that we ask at the end of every one of these. And that is, do you have a watchword for us or a word of wisdom for parents in back to school time?
I think just that word flexibility, routine, flexibility, and knowing that the goal is to have a healthy, happy, functioning family. It's not perfection. Progress, we want progress, but we don't need to worry about the perfection. And finally, that have a sense of self-compassion, offer yourself grace if things just don't go right. Um, and then that leads back to that mindset of just being flexible the best you can and go with the flow, because that's going to work well for the kiddos too. They'll see that you can be flexible, solve problems, and move on.
All right. That you said you didn't want it, but I think that was a perfect watchword. Okay, thanks so much, Sandy. It was great to have
Thank you. Good to be here.